This is Felix coming at you with my DPS Magsork build. So, if you don't want to listen to my 26 yet somehow sounding 13-year-old voice for longer than 30 seconds, then you may want to mute now. So, first things first, I am a high elf. I don't know if it pops that on here somewhere. I think it does. Maybe description. Yeah. So I'm a high elf. Between high elf and Dunmer, the dark elf right now, seems to be kind of hand in hand as far as DPS wise, mainly because of the concussion nerf has decreased the lightning damage that actual DPS characters use in favor of Inferno staffs. And since the Dark Elf has a fire damage bonus, it makes them a more reliable source for DPS than even the High Elf. However, they sacrifice the sustain and some of the lightning damage that the High Elf does with a lot of their skills, including like bonuses from Alambris. So it kind of makes them like kind of tied. So it's kind of up to you. I personally would still recommend High Elf though, just because of sustain, and it's just better for proccing Alambris. I am a vampire because you can't really just turn down that mag resource buff. I've got the Thief on right now, though for my DPS testing or solo playing or even dungeon playing, I might just use the Lover for bonus spell penetration. I've got all my attributes in 64, and let's get started with my inventory. Alright, so my both staffs are Inferno Mother staffs with the lightning enchant, with my front bar infused and my back bar infused. This way, the proc to my weapon damage and spell damage increase occurs a lot more often, and my lightning damage occurs a lot more often, which increases the downtime of my lightning storm through Alambris. And obviously, I've got all of my gear is divines for my armor. I have the Alambris head heavy and shoulders medium, so I could get that bonus from the Undaunted line. And then my chest and waist, legs, and feet are all light, and they're all Sororia, because that is the biggest endgame trial set because of this boon that you can do that increases your spell damage by 30. I have seen my spell damage go up from, what am I at right now? 2105. I've seen it go up to like 3400 before. My necklaces and rings are all Mother Sorrow. I will be buying the gold version of these when I see them in Cyrodiil. Oh, sorry. And I got Bloodthirsty on the neck to increase my execute damage, and then I have Arcane on the other two. As far as my skills go, I've got Elemental Weapon, which I hate compared to Force Pulse so much, because it looks like I'm pulse starting a lawnmower, but I can't deny the DPS bonus you get from this. Once you figure out how to get the rotation of going from activating LE weapon and shooting your light attack, it basically makes the Asylum staff irrelevant due to the fact that it always applies one of the three status effects anyways. Yeah, you don't get all three at the same time, but the damage is larger for longer boss fights, such as bosses and in both dungeons and trials. And I get more damage on a DPS dummy. I've got Inner Light, so I can get more Max Magicka and Spell Critical, which also increases more Magicka because of the Mage's Guild bonus of having, you know, a Mage's Guild skill on my bar. I'll get Empowered Ward because it increases my Magicka recovery for me and my allies, as well as grants me one of the greatest shields in the entire game across all classes. I got Crystal Frags. Right now mine hits for about almost 13k. Probably, yeah, it'll probably be about 13k since it does 10% more damage as long as I don't heavy cast it. And then I've got my execute. And that's my front bar. I got my shooting stars, my ultimate. My back bar starts with, I got liquid lightning. I've got boundless storm, which I'm playing with to replace the bound Aegis, which is the bound armaments or bound armor skill, because this one also increases your physicals and spell resistance, but it does damage instead of granting you more max magicka. Power surge, you gotta have it. It increases your health by increments based off of your critical damage. Blockade of fire, haunting curse, and I have the Destro fiery rage on the back bar. My CP allocations, I have 42 in the tower, got 42 in warlord to increase my break free, or reduce the cost of it. I have 80 in both arcanist and tenacity to increase my magicka recovery. In healthy I've got 6 just to increase my health recovery by a little bit. I've got 30 in tumbling, 3 in shadow ward to increase my evasion by just a little bit. I have in the mage, I have Elfborn at 40, elemental expert at 49. I have in the Echinox, I have staff expert at 40 and Messer at Arms at 57. And right now I'm just gonna continually be bumping Messer at Arms up until I at least have it to like 75. 55 Thaumaturge, bringing it up to 75 is pointless now because the Exploiter got nerfed to the ground, which is another part of the whole concussion nerf. 18 in Ironclad, 18 in Spell Shield, and 39 in Resistant. 45 in Hardy and Elemental Defender. I got 1 in Thick Skin just for shits and giggles, I guess. I don't really remember why I put it there. Bastion, you want at 75 because you want to increase that empowered ward by as much as possible. Now I'm going to go and re-put on the lever so that I can show you an accurate rotation. Alright, here we are. So the rotation you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start on your back bar before you start the DPS. You're obviously going to want to put on your liquid lightning. You could do power surge, I guess, before the DPS test. And you want to go heavy, liquid lightning, light attack, elemental blockade, light attack, curse, bar swap. Then you do a light attack, and then you do 3 elemental weapons, or 4 if you can squeeze the time in. And proc, I heavy cast it here just to show you, but if you have the crystal frag proc pop, then pop that in place of one of the elemental weapons. Then you bar swap again, you redo a heavy. That light attack was an accident, sorry. Liquid lightning, light attack, elemental blockade, light attack, curse, bar swap again, light attack, LE weapon, and see how I proc the crystal frag? So I throw that instead, light attack, LE weapon, and look, here's another crystal frag I can throw, and then bar swap. And you just go back and forth. If you do get an ultimate, you're going to want to cast it at right before a bar swap. You don't want to cast it right in the middle. So, you also want to have Witch Mother's Potent Brew active, and having a spell power potion will help keep with sustain as well. Now let me before I show you an example rotation, let me make sure my stuff is, yeah, that's decent. Okay. So I'm gonna that, pop that. And this is an example of the rotation in active. You want to skip the curse every other, just because the duration of it. See, I'm low, so I pop the potion. So I'm gonna pop my ultimate here. I'll swap back. I'm gonna do a heavy here because I forgot to do a heavy later in the rotation. Then you can go back. Because you want to make sure that the uptime on all your AoEs is constant. Do a couple heavies to get my spell or my magic back up a little bit. This is gonna be a shitty DPS thing just because I suck at talking while doing a rotation. That's why every time I ask to do one, I'm always saying I can't really talk. I'm still getting used to that LE weapon rotation. But you can get the gist of it though. I mean, that was shit, and I hit almost 25k. So if you aren't talking, you're focusing on your rotation, and you're perfecting it, and you're doing really well, then you can get up to the highest I've done so far is 32. So if you have any more questions as far as my build, feel free to reach out and ask me.